Damn, chill, you got another one?
What's poppin'? You already know the deal. You are now rockin' with no chill for real. We about to get ill. What did you expect for me to bow down, get soft and talk politically correct? They consider me a threat, especially if they goofy, cause I clown guys, no lies, I just do it truthfully. It's on the house like Snoopy, it's free in other words. I'm a nightmare to these super squares and nerds. I barbecue 'em with words when I'm through commentating. One thing you'll never see me ever do is hating, lying, exaggerating, or fabricating for views. If you not built for the street like a pair of shoes, as square as a Rubik's Cube, stop it and leave the field, or wind up a topic on no chill for real. You square as a Rubik's Cube, stop it and leave the field, or wind up a topic on no chill for real. All gas, no brakes. Gotta keep the pressure on these cowards and these snakes. Honor over money, gotta do what it takes. Gotta keep the pressure on these cowards and these snakes.
Gotta stay going in.
All gas, no brakes. Gotta keep the pressure on these cowards and these snakes. Honor over money, gotta do what it takes. Gotta keep the pressure on these cowards and these snakes.
Say what's poppin', man. You are now rocking with No Chill for Real. And I'm not your doctor, and I don't care how you feel, man. But anyway, let's get in today's video, man. So I'm reacting to a channel that's called Street Certified News, man. And like I said, man, this is this dude's channel. I'm just reacting, man. I'm going to try to interrupt as less as possible because this is a long video, and I'm going to let him do what he do, man. Let's get into it.
We wanted to really break down, you know, everything that's been going on with this Big U case. As you see from the title, during our investigations, we uncovered a lot of material that's in the paperwork that we definitely wanted to share with you guys. Everything is alleged. Big U and a number of men out of Los Angeles, including the boy Brick Baby Zaire Mitchell, they're all under arrest and facing a myriad of charges from racketeering to extortion to murder. So, you know, we always want to let the public know. I know a lot of these channels don't do this, but, you know, you innocent until proven guilty, not the other way around.
I think it was very important for him to point that out, man.
So we definitely, like we said, and looking at the story and looking at the case and looking at how they was trying to build a case against Big U as far back as 2019, a lot of this story really got started in 2021 with the death of Rayshawn Williams, a unique music artist, one of Big U's artists. And man, the FBI used a lot of different tactics to build information, and they never really got that smoking gun. But I believe through all of these little tidbits, and mostly through cooperating witnesses and witness interviews in which the boy Wack 100 name is all in the paperwork as one of their main witnesses. When you look at the paperwork and it shows witness interviews, he's the first and only name mentioned. And then there's a whole paragraph about, you know, what he told the feds. If y'all could hit that like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, man. Man, shout out to my boy Deuce M's, man, from Active Chucks. We sat down, we talked to him. We also reached out to that boy 600. Originally, he had agreed to do an interview, but, you know, once it was that time, we never heard back from him. Either way, man, with no further ado, this week's story, man. How the boy Wack 100 and Loose Cannon cooperated with the FBI in this Big U Rolling 60s Rico case, man. Hey.
Now, those are some extremely serious allegations that this dude is making. You know, this is the very first time that I've ever seen his channel. I just run across it while scrolling YouTube. I will say, upon looking at some things that I see on his channel, it appears he's just not some dude jumping out there just saying this and saying that. It appears he does thorough investigation. He really, you know, crosses his T's and dots his I's and all that stuff. And so we gonna see. I'm gonna let y'all make y'all decision though.
With no further ado, man, let's get right to it. On March 27th, 2025, the United States Attorney's Office would indict prominent Los Angeles businessman Eugene Big U Henley and a number of men connected to the Rolling 60s Crip organization, including Zaire Mitchell, aka Brick Baby, Sylvester Robinson, and Mark Martin, aka Bear Claw, the owner of an auto body shop the feds believe to be the principal target location for Big U in his enterprise's business operations. In March of 2025, these men, along with others, would be indicted for racketeering, wire fraud, firearm possession, drug possession, and conspiracy to commit murder. Included in those arrested would be Tremaine Ashley Williams, a 42-year-old man who until recent months was not under investigation or a part of the Rolling 60 structure outside of a loose familial affiliation. Tremaine Williams, aka Loose Cannon, would essentially be a nobody until early March 2024, when he would appear as a guest of WAC 100 on the No Jumper podcast.
And let me just pause right here, man. So he said up until recently, this dude was not even a part, Loose Cannon was not even a part of the investigation, man. So essentially going on these YouTube podcasts and talked himself into a Rico, man. Crazy.
And made claims that Big U had a hand in the shooting death of popular rapper and Rolling 60s member Nipsey Hussle. Although it would seem that this is the starting point of the investigation into Big U and the Rolling 60s Crips, the government had already been investigating the group since the 2021 death of unique music rapper Rayshawn Williams. On the morning of January 25th, 2021, detectives with the North Las Vegas Police Department discovered the body of Rayshawn Williams lying in the desert near the Apex landfill in North Las Vegas, Nevada. Williams had been shot multiple times and his body had been dragged and left in a ditch not far from Interstate 15. Hours before the homicide, Williams had been seen at Jamal Rashid's studio, a studio closely associated with Big U Henley. According to a witness identified as Witness 1, Henley was one of the last people seen with Williams before the homicide. Witness 1 would also state that Robinson drove Henley to Las Vegas from Los Angeles in a dark gray Lexus. Detectives obtained a court-ordered search warrant for AT&T records for 2 of Henley's telephones for the weeks leading up to the homicide. Based on the information from Witness 1 and analysis of Henley's phones, Henley and Robinson arrived in Las Vegas on January 23rd, 2021. And on January 24th at approximately 7:04 p.m., Henley would arrive at the studio.
And that's crazy, right? So according to this individual right here, Street Certified News, and the information that he's reading that he has discovered, Big U has somebody extremely close to his inner circle, basically working with the police, man. And so whenever this goes to trial, it's going to be extremely interesting, right? It's going to be extremely interesting.
According to Witness 1, who was most likely the security guard from the studio that night, who had a family in law enforcement and was motivated to give information due to that fact, Henley would return to the studio around 2:30 to 3 a.m. alone in that same dark gray Lexus. That was the catalyst to really get the FBI to start looking into Big U. Like, they had already kind of been looking at him for maybe some extortion as far back as 2019. But that 2021 murder, man, really kind of got the ball rolling on this FBI RICO and murder case against the boy Big U. When we get down to Witness 1 is the person, like, he was in the studio clearly. And then they say Witness 1 is associated with the studio and has a criminal history that include a 2020 misdemeanor for soliciting prostitution. You know, he nigga live in Vegas. I don't know how you catch a prostitution charge. Your ass live in Vegas. That's crazy.
Right, where prostitution is legal, so he on Tropicana dealing with the low budget hoes. You know.
Now, see, that's a misconception that a lot of individuals have. To my understanding, and it's not by personal knowledge, prostitution, though, is not legal in the city of Nevada, or excuse me, in the city of Las Vegas. It's legal in some, for some of y'all that want to go out there, you know what I'm saying, and dip your stick in the mud. It's legal in some surrounding counties. I think Nye County is one of the counties, and a few other counties, right? And it's only legal in these what do they call them? these like houses or whatever that they go to, like boarding type houses. I forget the exact name, right? So it's not legal to go down to Las Vegas and get at, female, solicit her, so on and so forth. So just don't, I'm just, just so y'all don't get that twisted, man, and go out there and catch no case.
With the low budget, low end, not even the $200 escorts. He trying to spend 50 or 40,
I see. And then they also said that witness one was motivated to cooperate because he has a family member who works for law enforcement.
Right.
So like you said, chances are that's probably like a security guard or somebody like that who has a close ties to law enforcement that was motivated to cooperate in that situation.
But also remember this, bro. He's out in Vegas working security at the studio. Mind you, they said that he drew down on Big U and them when Big U and them put up to Marley Marl house. Marley Marl wasn't home, right? But they come there to come use the studio. Marley Marl's not there. They or whatever.
See, I ain't know that. So you saying all of this allegedly this wasn't just a random studio?
Yeah, this is Marley Marl.
So in November of 2022, a federal judge will authorize wiretaps on 2 of Big U's phones, as well as 2 other phones that they believe were connected to some of Big U's associates. And in February of 2023, North Las Vegas PD detectives would attempt to interview Big U unsuccessfully when they literally drove all the way to Los Angeles and knocked on his door. On or about February 14th, 2023, at approximately 12:05 p.m., Henley, who is now using Target Telephone 1, will place a call to Mark Martin, who was using Target Telephone 4. During the call, Henley would tell Martin that he wanted to meet with him at the Target location. During the conversation between Henley and Martin, the death investigation of Rayshawn Williams would be brought up and mentioned that it was around the 2-year anniversary and that detectives wanted to follow up to talk to everyone who was close to the rapper. In July 2022, paperwork would claim in the witness interview section that the FBI Houston division would interview Cash Jones, also known as WAC 100. The FBI, who believes that their interview was recorded and posted to YouTube the next day, interviewed Cash Jones about his association with Big U. The paperwork also mentions that prior interview attempts by the North Las Vegas PD in 2021 were unsuccessful, and that the subject Big U had learned about those interview attempts from other associates. It is also stated that witness interviews, specifically the only one named in the paperwork, aka the interview with WAC 100, led to direct confidential human sources being brought into the case. In this section of the paperwork, it explains that investigators have already conducted interviews during the investigation, and that those interviews have helped gather information about Big U's involvement in a homicide and in collecting extortion payments.
Yeah, like I said earlier, this is not looking good. It's not sounding like it's a good situation to be in. Of course, anytime you're incarcerated and charged with whatever charge, whether it's a state charge or it's a federal charge, it's not good. But people tend to feel that the feds put a more complex case together before coming to arrest you. You heard them say they had been looking into this for 2 years, gathering evidence, listening on phones that was tapped and things of that nature. Now, also, I hear a slight hissing or whatever, and some mic troubles, but it's this channel. I don't believe it has anything to do with my channel. When I upload this, I'll try to turn it up, but that may be the issue right there, though.
Some interviews also led to recruiting confidential sources used in the case. However, the document states that these confidential sources have taken the investigation as far as they can and have not been enough to meet prosecutorial goals. If you go back and read about CHS3, aka Loose Cannon, the contents closely mirror this exact conclusion. So CHS3 did not have access, had limited access to the Rolling 60s, and it looks like he was unable to be used for the investigation because he provided extensive assistance for another FBI investigation back in June of 2019. His assistance is widely suspected among multiple gangs in the Los Angeles area. He's able to testify about the information he has already provided. So it looks like CHS-3 received monetary compensation for his or her assistance with another FBI investigation. He also received monetary compensation for his or her assistance with the FBI's investigation into the Rolling 60s.
Ain't this a bitch? Somebody's a paid snitch. And that's the cold situation about, dealing in illegal criminal activity and so on and so forth. You could be dealing with an individual from 1993 to 1999. All of a sudden, at the end of 1999, he gets caught up in a situation, and you don't know about it. And so now this dude is wearing wires, helping the federal government out, and so on and so forth. And then you caught up in a situation like this. It's just too many variables you have to do when you're committing crimes with other individuals, man. And honestly, just being older and wiser, it's not worth it. It's not worth it because you never know what the next man is doing, man. Jay-Z, man, has a real good song on this topic, man. And the name of that song, or somewhere around there, like, it was all cool just a week ago. And he describes a certain situation, dealing with a dude, man, and now suddenly the dude gets caught up, and now the dude is trying to snitch and so on and so forth. So, if y'all ain't up on that song, go check that song out. It was all cool just a week ago. But when all this stuff comes out, it's going to be interesting because, of course, whoever they're talking about is the paid informant, whoever they're alleging it is now, of course, this dude is going to say no. Of course, he's going to say no. But eventually, when it goes to trial, it'll all be revealed. It's going to be, like I said, it's going to be intriguing, to say the least.
CHS-3 has a criminal history that includes stalking, possession of a controlled substance, and domestic violence. He has also provided information to the California Department of Corrections.
It was a jailhouse snitch.
Although the feds have been collecting information on potential extortion and racketeering since as early as 2019. Witness 1 would be the first cooperating witness, most likely the security guard in the Las Vegas studio from 2021. CHS-1, a former drug dealer / pimp, would give information on the cannabis shop and extortions from Big U. CHS-2, most likely a prostitute who worked for CHS-1, was used to record phone calls after CHS-1 became nervous about recording conversations himself. CHS-3, most likely Loose Cannon, was arrested for stalking and domestic charges with ties to Riverside, California. The FBI claims after this initial information gathering from CHS-3, he became unable to collect further information after the streets began to believe he was an informant, which we believe led to his public statements against Big U with Wack 100 on No Jumper. And then we have Wack 100, who through his own admittance spoke with federal authorities about both J. Prince Sr. and Big U. Also, per the paperwork, his witness interview potentially led to the FBI using CHS-3, aka Loose Cannon, who had already been working for the feds on a separate case dating back to 2019. When looking at all this information and the public statements made by both Wack 100 and Loose Cannon, the truth begins to become clearer. In an attempt to collect more information on crimes allegedly committed by Big U in the Rolling 60s, the FBI utilized all measures. They would first interview Rayshawn Williams' family, then authorize 4 phone intercepts. When that wasn't enough, they would solicit cooperation from gang members against the enterprise. Finally, when that wasn't enough, they would use people like Loose Cannon to make outrageous claims that have never been proven or even alleged to get the targets to talk on previously tapped devices. Even though all of this was done to collect evidence to indict Henley, Robinson, Martin, Mitchell, and others. Strangely, it would not be until that final indictment that Williams, aka Loose Cannon, would ever be mentioned in the paperwork. During the course of the investigation, he was never mentioned as a target or a subject, not even once. Still, he would be for sure arrested with the group of men he very likely informed upon.
Yeah, this is crazy, right? Some of it seems like it makes a lot of sense, and some of it I'm kind of like wondering, okay, because or maybe now he's alleging that Loose Cannon and Whack 100 were both working with the feds. Now, if they were working with the feds, maybe they didn't know because I'm tripping on when Wack was interviewing Loose Cannon on some of those podcasts and Adam 22s or whatever it was, No Jumpers. He was asking some extremely game goofy questions for an individual who's supposed to be game tight. And, to me, he should have not allowed Loose Cannon to say all those things and implicate himself, right? So then, of course, one has to wonder, what was the purpose of asking all those game goofy questions for an individual who claims he is as knowledgeable about the streets as Whack 100, right? So, and then, he mentioned something about how Loose Cannon would make these preposterous claims in order to draw people in and say this and say that. And so a lot of this stuff, man, is just looking like, he has connected some dots, right? And like I said, man, once all this goes to trial and these individuals, whoever they are, have to be revealed, it's going to be interesting.
You know what I'm saying? We'll let y'all, digest the story, man. Like we said, man, shout out to my boy Dude Sims. He really helped me go over CHS 1 and CHS 2.
So anyway, that seems like that's the end of the interview, man, or excuse me, the end of the video. Once again, he's on Street Certified News. It's your boy No Chill for real. I'm not your doctor and I don't care how you feel. Until the next episode, be sure to respect the code.